What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, my review of Batwoman episode 11. Now, this episode begins the same way that the last episode ended. Kate grabs New Beth and says, "Who are you? Who are you?" I don't know if the line was dubbed, I don't know if it's just like bad mic placement, but it sounds really bad. It sounds like she can't really get the words out. But as the scene continues, the scene gets a little dark because Kate straight up tries to kill her. Luckily, her purse is within arm's length, so Beth grabs Mace and just hits Kate right in the face. And I was so happy. Now, luckily, Kate has indestructible eyes, as she does go down for a second, long enough for Beth to escape. But just a split second later, we get the signature Ruby Rose sort of peering at you through skinny eyes and furrowed brow. And, I've actually been hit with CS gas, and you're not opening your eyes after that, okay? You're not. Next up is a flashback scene between 10-year-old Alice and Mouse, and Alice is stuck in the room, she's still trapped, held captive, reading her Alice in Wonderland book, and Mouse brings her a cat kind of as a present. Now we cut back to Sophie, who's on the phone with Jacob, and he says, "Listen, don't even bother interrogating Alice. You don't want to run the risk of her getting in your head. Just leave her in there until they come pick her up to take her to Arkham, okay? It's not worth it." And of course, Sophie tries to interrogate Alice. Cut back to Wayne Tower, we have Kate, Luke, and Mary, and they're trying to figure out who this new Beth is. They're going through the purse that she left behind, and Luke's checking out her phone. And then Mary, my favorite character in the whole show, finds a 300-page dissertation on astrophysics. I guess new Beth is a genius. And Mary says, "Hey, I'm going to take this paper to science lab. I don't know. I'm going to see if anybody's heard of her. I'll see you later." Luke passes the phone over to Kate, who guesses that the passcode is, you guessed it, waffles. And as Kate goes through the pictures on the iPhone, she realizes this is actually the Beth from Earth 99. And with about 30 seconds of dialogue, Luke and Kate figure out exactly how she came to this Earth. It all makes sense if you don't think about it. Now Kate guesses where Beth went because it's their birthday, and it's the park we saw in one of the other episodes. Now it's important to remember that throughout the episode it is mentioned that it is their birthday. Their meaning Kate, Alice, and Beth. So no, it's nighttime. We got to Beth at the park. Kate shows up to say, "Hey, I promise I'm not here to kill you. Just here to murder the audience." Back at Crow headquarters in the middle of Sophie's interrogation of Alice, Alice hints that there is a surprise for Kate. So now we have a video playing on the TV where Mouse claims to have two hostages, one of which is the commissioner's son. Back from commercial, we find Kate and Beth at Kate's gay bar, and she's given it a name. Wait for it. The Holdup. I'm not sure what the implication is there. Can't be good. And here we find Beth accepting the explanation of a multiverse without question. You see, all this makes sense to her because she has a master's degree in astrophysics. Of course you do. And it's in this scene that we also find out that the Kate from Earth 99 is actually a better hero than the one we're stuck with. Turns out that Kate actually went back and saved Beth. It makes this Kate feel like garbage. Next, we see a reporter on the steps of Gotham City Police Department. And it's there that she confronts the police commissioner, the same police commissioner who just found out that his son was abducted and is now being held hostage. But her question has absolutely nothing to do with that. She says, "Commissioner, does your refusal to turn on the bat signal have anything to do with Batwoman coming out as lesbian?" We can't let it go. We can't go one freaking episode without making her sexuality the #1 topic of the episode. Come on! So what you're telling me is that the police commissioner is so blinded by his bigotry and hatred of anyone that's homosexual that he will discard the very safety of his own son because he doesn't want to give Batwoman, some lesbian, the satisfaction of being a hero. What kind of sick, twisted, demented person will write this garbage? What kind of hellscape of a nightmare world do you think we live in? So then we cut back to Crow headquarters where Sophie sort of drives the point home and says, "Hey, listen, if they're not going to ask for Batwoman's help, they're going to need ours." Come on. And while the interrogation of Alice is sort of going on, we see flashbacks cutting back to when she was abducted and the significance of the book and the significance of the pet cat. She knitted a sweater for the cat. And flashing forward, she keeps asking for the book, and Sophie's playing hardball. She's like, "I don't think so. We're not going to give you anything until you give us what we want." And throughout this whole interrogation, Alice is reflecting back on how she was a prisoner, and she makes references to her being a prisoner. And in every opportunity, she flips it around on Sophie and says, "Aren't you also feeling trapped? Because you're also gay, and you've been hiding it, and you married some man, but you're really gay. Don't you want to get out? Aren't you trapped? Trapped? Aren't you get it because she's gay?" So now we cut back to Kate, who's on the phone with Luke, and they're talking about the fact that they won't turn on the bat signal, and Luke just can't believe that, the commissioner is so full of hate that he won't ask for your help. And then Kate's like, "Well, listen, hey, welcome to the world we live in." And then when she's on the phone with Luke, she sort of laments the fact that the Kate from Earth 99 was able to save Beth, and she wasn't able to save her Beth. And that was kind of a cool moment. I understood that. I could kind of see that, you did something that resulted in the death of your sister, but you've convinced yourself that, well, I couldn't have possibly saved her. But then something shows up, proof that says, hey, listen, no, you actually could have saved her. So that was sort of a tender moment, a serious moment. I thought that, wow, why couldn't we have more of that? But these good moments tend to happen at the wrong time because remember, we have hostages that need to be saved. And luckily, Luke, on the phone with her, says, hey, listen, why don't you maybe table this and go save, the hostages? So Kate springs in action, jumps on her motorcycle, headed towards the Batcave, and then she's hit by a bus. There have been many times throughout this season where I really wanted the character of Kate Kane, or Batwoman, to be hit by a bus. Now, it's very dramatic. She's running full speed on the motorcycle. The bus hits her, knocks her off the bike. It's really a violent crash. And then we see that the van was actually driven by Mouse and the Bunny Rabbit gang, so cut the commercial. All right, we're back from commercial. We find Kate and the two hostages zip-tied in a car. They're in a junkyard, and Mouse is on the phone like, hey, listen, I got Kate now. She's talking to Sophie. She's like, I got Kate. What are you going to do? And Kate's like, listen to me. Let Alice go. Let Alice go. She says it twice. That's very important. Now we have another flashback where Mouse's dad finds the cat that was given to Alice and freaks out and kills it right in front of the kids, so mildly traumatic. Now we're back in the interrogation room, and Alice sort of thinks she has the upper hand and says, well, you gonna let me go? And Sophie's like, no, I'm not gonna let you go. You know why? Because Kate, all right, she used our secret code. In training, we know that if you say something twice, it means the opposite. So I'm not gonna let you go. If it was such a secret code, why would you tell Alice? And now Alice goes into some sinister dialogue. And it's funny how last episode she was doing all of this, the murder and whatnot, to restore her relationship with Kate. Now she's completely willing to allow Kate to be murdered. Now we're back at the Batcave, and Luke basically levels with Beth and says, listen, the Beth from this world is Alice, and she's crazy, and she's actually abducted your sister. Now Luke is able to use the GPS tracker on Kate's bike to pinpoint her location. And now Beth offers to pose as Alice to try to save Kate's life. Cut the commercial. All right, we're back from commercial. We're back at the junkyard, and Kate is zip-tied inside the car. Zip-tied to the steering wheel. And she's able to rip off the turn signal lever. Okay. And then she begins to use the round turn signal lever to cut the zip tie. And while she's doing this, the two guys are in the back, and they're having a little conversation like, man, I can't believe my dad's not going to use the bat signal. Batgirl, Batwoman, she's the only one that can save us. And the other guy's like, yeah, it's 2020. Nobody cares about, gay or straight. Except the writers of this show. All right, it's flashback time, and I can't decide if this is creepy or hilarious. Mouse's dad wants to know if Beth made the sweater for the cat that he just killed. Beth doesn't want to answer. She says, when my dad finds you, he's going to kill you. And of course, Mouse's dad says, well, no, he's actually remarried. See, here's a newspaper to prove the point. This is obviously demoralizing to Beth, and so then she admits, well, yes, I did make the little sweater for the cat. And Mouse's dad is so impressed with this sweater that she made for this cat out of material she cut out of her blanket that he wants her to use that same craftsmanship to knit together skin to make Mouse a new face. He's like, I want you to do that with this. And he holds up a tray with bloody skin. And then we cut back to Alice and Sophie where Alice says, that was the day I learned to make faces. What the hell's going on? We're back at Wayne Tower where Mary is helping Beth become Alice, painting up her face, putting a wig on. They have a little tender moment where they talk about, yeah, the last time I saw Alice, my mom was dying. So this is weird. Next thing we see is Beth showing up as Alice in the junkyard, and she fools Mouse. Nah, I'm just kidding. She doesn't fool him at all. Not even close. He immediately finds out that it's not her, pulls off her wig, and holds her at gunpoint. Cut the commercial. All right, we're back from commercial, and Beth is thrown into the trunk of the same car that holds Kate and the two guys. And as soon as that trunk lid closes, Kate jumps out of the car because she's free because she used a round piece of steel to cut a zip tie. So now the 105-pound woman who's just in a violent motorcycle accident beats the hell out of 10 guys. Sure. Alright, so one more flashback, and this is a doozy. We see that Alice has actually completed the face. Like that day. Now the last flashback was not her beginning to learn how to sew pieces of human skin together to make a face. That was the day she did it. So the first day she tried, she did it. Like Mary Sue Evil edition. And then Mouse even comes in the room with a perfect human face that we're supposed to believe is a skin that this girl just whipped together. I mean, there's no stitching or anything. Think about all those plastic surgeons who have wasted years and hundreds of thousands of dollars on school. What idiots. If they'd only start with sewing sweaters for cats. Alright, we're back at Crow headquarters in the interrogation room, and Alice is telling Sophie how Sophie is, hiding who she is. on the inside, again. And during most of the interrogation, she's had this original copy of Alice in Wonderland, the same book that she had when she was held hostage as a kid. And in some of those flashbacks, we learn that that book was torn, and Mouse gave her some fishing line to sort of mend the spine of the book. So now Alice is taken out of the room by 2 guards. She is headed off to Arkham. But guess what? She's got the fishing line. So she uses the fishing line to choke out one of the guards and then take his gun and shoot the other guard. And then she kills the guard with the fishing line. I mean, Alice is a badass. And as Sophie is held at gunpoint by Alice, Alice says, "I am free, but you're not free. You're in a prison of your own making, and that's the worst hell ever." You get it? Get it? 'Cause Sophie's gay. Now, during all Kate's kung fu action, Mouse was kicked back and impaled by a piece of steel. And while he was hanging there, he takes a lighter and throws a lighter at the car that was doused with gasoline, and it bursts into flames. Now, Kate stops all the kung fu action and goes to the trunk of the car to try to free her sister, and she can't get it open. So she goes to the back seat, she frees the 2 hostages, and then she begins to tear the seat out. Now she's working like hell to try to get Beth out. The flames are getting hotter, and there's a moment where she thinks she's not going to save her, but she sort of summons up some courage and tears the rest of the seat out, gets her sister out just in time for the car to explode. Cut the commercial. All right, we're back from commercial, and Rachel Maddow's on the radio talking about how Batwoman is on the GCPD's no-call list because of the gay. Back at Crow headquarters, Kate and Sophie are having a conversation, and, Kate's fine. She was just in a violent car wreck. She just beat up 10 guys. She was just in a car that was engulfed in flames, but her clothes are clean, no real scratches. She's all good to go. We're good here. So the 2 of them share a tender moment, but their attention is drawn to the TV. It's a news report telling us that there are protests at the GCPD, and all the protesters are chanting, "Turn on the light! Turn on the light!" Yes, we have a legitimate pro-gay protest at a police station in the Batwoman TV series. And it's only episode 11. Now, in this entire episode, we have not seen Kate Kane in the Batsuit at all. But as these protests are going on, she drops out of nowhere onto the canopy of the GCPD, literally in the spotlight. She's standing there in the spotlight while the crowd is chanting her name and she's smiling. What the hell's going on? I mean, you're kidding me. This is not a stealthy vigilante. This is a shallow celebrity. Next, we have a quick scene in the prison where Sophie's talking to Jacob. And Jacob's like, "Listen, it's a great thing that Alice escaped. Now she's a fugitive. Now we can put a bullet in her and nobody's going to bat an eye. Let's put an end to this." I couldn't agree more. Okay, it's the final scene and we're back at the gay bar, the hold up. And we find out that Mary doesn't know about the multiverse. So I'm not sure how they explained that we have a second Beth. And they're also having a birthday party. A birthday party. That means that everything in this episode has happened over the course of a few hours. That's a hell of a night. And as Kate and Beth blow out the candles, Beth drops to the floor with a massive headache. And then we also see that the escaped Alice is also having the same headache. Then we see a preview for episode 12 where we find out that basically one of the 2 Beths is going to have to die for the other one to live. Shame the series can't die. Alright, so there you have it. Episode 11. Mary continues to be my favorite character. Alice continues to be a pretty convincing villain. Batwoman continues to not be a superhero. And her sexuality continues to be the main focus of the entire series. Can't wait till next week.